gentlemen, welcome to another exciting lecture. Today we're going to take a look at culture. Yes, how this impacts business and why we need to understand it. So make sure you get your notes, you follow the Storm Philosophy, sit back and enjoy. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at understanding culture. Make sure we understand that culture is not just the culture on the surface, but there's many different layers to culture. We're going to take a look at some country examples, and then we're going to lead into the idea of how the culture impacts business. All right, so class is in session. So what is culture? Well, culture is all about the attitudes, opinions, beliefs, values, the way of doing things, the traditional norms of a society. These are all the characteristics or traits that a society exhibits and that other people use to describe that society, that group of people. It's, again, those things that are both intrinsic and extrinsic, the things that you can within and things that they demonstrate on the outside. Religion plays a huge role sometimes in culture, as well as the traditions of a society. The other part with this is that culture is passed down through generations. It's acquired by a group of people who have lived in that generation, that region for years, and is passed down from one generation to the next. So culture is definitely transmitted throughout eras and years. So then we'd look at subcultures as well, because subcultures are those groups within the larger predominant culture. These are distinguished groups within. This can come from class, so upper class versus lower class, can come from ethnic backgrounds, and religion. Again, country like Canada, there's many, many religions, therefore many different subcultures. It can also be shared beliefs and interests that really demonstrate these subcultures. And then we have the counterculture. So these are cultural groups within a larger culture that oppose that accepted culture. These are the values or lifestyles that are kind of on the opposite ends of the spectrum. These members of a counterculture definitely openly reject the established cultural values that surround them. So they definitely oppose authority in a lot of ways. For example, if you look at music, right, we have punks, emos, new metals, gangsta raps groups, and all these different culture or countercultural groups. All right, so let's take a look at some country examples. All right, so let's start with Russia. Now, Russians are proud of their country. They accept their lives are difficult, and they pride themselves on being able to flourish in conditions that others could not. They take great pride in their cultural heritage and expect the rest of the world to admire it. They display this through the typical greeting, right? It's a firm handshake, almost bone-crushing. They maintain direct eye contact when they do such a greeting. They give the appropriate greeting for the time of day always as well. Patience with Russia is also essential. The typical Russian schedules are constantly changing and everything takes longer than expected. So, with their culture, be prepared to be kept waiting. All right, so how about Germany? Well, Germans can be considered masters of planning. This is a culture that prizes forward thinking. They want to do specific things on specific times of the day. They're careful in their planning and in one's business and personal life because, again, this provides a sense of security. Therefore, their work and their personal lives are rigidly divided. They have a very formal culture, and this shows itself through, again, a quick, firm handshake. That's a traditional greeting. Titles are very important, and they denote respect. Germans do not need a personal relationship in order to do business, and Germans display a great deference to people in authority. So it's imperative that they understand your level relative to their own. So China's next. Chinese are a very collective society. They need a group affiliation, whether that's in their family, their school, their work group, or their country. It's all about groups and affiliation. In order to maintain that sense of harmony, they will act with decorum at all times. They will not do anything that causes someone else public embarrassment. That's very highly prized to them, that idea of respect. They're willing to subjugate themselves, their own feelings, for the good of the group as well. And the Chinese nonverbal communication speaks volumes. Greetings are formal, and the oldest person is always greeted first. They always look towards the ground when they greet. The Chinese don't like doing business with companies they don't know, so working through an intermediary is crucial. Rank is extremely important. Business relationships, you must keep rank differences in mind. And when communicating, the relationships really matter. They're built formally, and they will only start really do this once they get to know you. So lastly, Brazil. Brazil is a mixture of races and ethnicities. It results in a rich diversity.
think Canada in this respect. The family is definitely the foundation of that social structure and that forms the basis of stability. Most people, families tend to be large. Nepotism in this case, therefore, is considered a positive thing. So hiring those people you know and are family members is definitely well respected in their culture. It implies that employing people one knows and trusts is of primary importance. And Brazilians prefer face-to-face meetings rather than written communication because it really allows them to get to know the person. Communication, therefore, is often informal, does not rely on strict rules of protocol. Anyone who feels they have something to say will generally add their opinion to this. So what does this all mean for businesses? Well, businesses, as you can tell, need to conduct themselves quite differently for various different countries. How various different cultures greet is very important to understand. How various businesses communicate is very important to understand. Be prepared that you have to adapt to those various different cultures, and therefore businesses need to be aware of all of these cultures. All right, so that brings us to the end of this lecture video. Now I'm posing this question again because I really want you to think about this. Is there anything else that you want to add? I mean, how important is it for understanding culture? Think of all the different situations that cultures play a role in your day-to-day lives. And now think about it in terms of businesses. So that's it. That's all. That's everything. We'll see you next time.